are bound. We fought so many battles here. Now we're the ones that they will fear. The club resides within our town. We won't stop no letting down. The cup is ours for all to drink. It's our town, let's rock this ring. Hey, hockey town. I'm not alone, just look around. Hey, hockey town. Let's the roof, let's hear the sound. The world's on us at every turn. The puck is dropped, the fever burns. Flesh speed, some brilliant daring. Red lights flash, the horns are blaring. Hockey town, our hunger's fed by our men in white and red. They dazzle us before our eyes. Lord Stanley's Cup, we have the prize. Hey, hockey town. I'm not alone, just look around. Hey, hockey town. Where's the roof? Let's hear the sound. Hey, hockey town. Play hockey. Hey, hockey town. Just look around. Hey, hockey town. Hockey. Hey, hockey
Mike Babcock, just breaking news came out today that the Red Wings have given him permission to speak with other teams that are in search of a head coach. One of those teams including Toronto, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and also Edmonton Oilers. Kevin, do you see, after the Wings get bounced in the first round by the Tampa Bay Lightning, do you see him returning as the Wings head coach?
Probably not, because he's been here for 10 years, and it's probably... It's the same theory when Ken Holland left off with Dave Lewis. Dave Lewis was here for a long time as an assistant coach under Scotty Bowman. And let me say this, Mike Babcock is probably one of the 5 best coaches in hockey, but the Wings have been bounced out of the playoffs 3 out of the first 4 years. 3 out of the last 4 years in the first round. And I do think Mike Babcock wants to be known as sort of the coaching alpha male.
He is the best coach in the league right now, bar none.
I do think, and you know more about hockey than I do, but I do think, just observing this from afar, I think his time here as Red Wings head coach is sort of run its course. I do think he is more comfortable here because he knows the surroundings. But the question is, what does Mike Babcock want to do, and how much money is he willing, or does he want to coach? Because the Red Wings, the last offer to Babcock was, I think, $3.25 million a year, and he turned that down before the start of the season. So the question is, how big of a paycheck does he want to make, and does he want a new challenge?
He's looking to cash in big time, and I could see him going for nowhere less than $5 million a season, and he deserves $5 million a season for everything he's done, especially with that Red Wings team who is, there are a lot of older teams out there, but the Wings seems to always get older with the players that they bring in. But for them, especially bringing in all these young new talent like the Yurkos and the Nyquists and all these young upcoming superstars, he really coached them well up to where they can play at a professional level. When it comes to where do you think he'll land, there's the sexy market in Edmonton with them getting the number 1 pick overall, which will be Connor McDavid, and they have a lot of good young talent over there, and Yakupov and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Hall and Eberle, and so much talent over there, so much good young talent over there. But then there is, the mecca of the hockey world, and that is Toronto, which I think every coach wants to coach in Toronto. Just something about that, the whole city and the town. That's Canada's team. That is like the New York Yankees of hockey. So when it comes down to that, there's and money's going to be a huge part. and title. I know that there's talks that he just wants to coach. He doesn't want extra GM roles. He doesn't want extra roles in the organization. He just wants to coach. And with Edmonton, they have Peter Chiarelli, who's the GM they just signed to Edmonton as to be their GM and president. So you already have a GM who has won a cup with Boston, who has built a powerhouse in Boston, and you add Mike Babcock to that. Olympic gold medal winning coach, Stanley Cup winning coach, and with all that firepower and knowledge and winning attitude, yeah, if I were a betting man, I would go, Mike Babcock to Edmonton if he's smart. But listen, if money talks, and because right now the Leafs are desperate, they're
looking for an identity.
They have no one. They actually wanted Chiarelli to run their team. He said no. They wanted Ray Shiro to run their team. He said no. They signed somewhere else. So this is the last kick at the can for the Leafs to salvage something in the front office. So Shanahan has a lot on his plate. This is make or break for Brendan Shanahan. I'm not saying that Mike Babcock will come in and be the savior, because I know that's what every Leaf fan wants to hear, that, if we get Babcock, then everything's going to fall into place. He's going to know how to... No. He's still going to need players for him to coach. The right players for him to coach. You need to have to develop your farm system. You have to bring those guys up, which I hopefully that they do if they make a couple off-season moves. Maybe Dion Phaneuf gets traded to Detroit, because I know that they're very interested in him. I know that they were wanting to acquire him at the trade deadline.
At that contract.
But the contract was a little bit too high, and what the Leafs were asking at the trade deadline was a little bit too much for them. So me personally, as a Leaf fan, I would love to see Mike Babcock, but if he goes to Edmonton, I wouldn't blame him. But if he wants to be the man, go to Toronto. If he wants to be a part of a potential dynasty, then go to Edmonton. That's plain and simple of it.
So do you think he's done in Detroit though, right?
Oh, he's done. He wants a payday, and the Wings just won't give him that.
So looking at where the Wings go after, if Babcock does eventually leave, Ken Holland said that the head coach of the Grand Rapids Griffins would be a candidate.
Yeah.
So which direction do you think the Wings will go, especially considering they have an aging core, but they also have...
They have a very young core out there, which is great for the future.
They have young players like Nyquist and Cronwall, and then Zetterberg and Datsuk are getting up there. So where do you see the Wings going, assuming Babcock is no longer here? When
it comes to the Wings, they do have that fresh talent in there that they have been infusing into their lineups year after year for the past 2 or 3 years. So they have those guys that are really are ready to step up and take the positions of a Cronwall, a Zetterberg, a Datsuk, because like you said, that they are getting up there in years. And I've seen them live play in the first round against Tampa, and you could tell that they were slow, especially Zetterberg. So I don't know if Zetterberg is, he's getting up there in age, and I think that maybe you got to give him credit that he is the leader of that team, and you still need that leadership on there. But like you said, the way that they play. The way that they play in the playoffs against Tampa Bay, who is a fast, speedy team, you can really see how much they need to grow, especially playing in the Eastern Conference now. So if they can, let's say if they do lose Babcock and they give the job to a person in their farm system, the head coach, I forget his name, but he's currently doing well. They're in the Calder Cup finals, the AHL. For the Grand Rapids Griffins, I believe. So he comes from a winning team, and he has a lot of good prospects down there. So why not give him a shot, But if not, there are other good coaches out there. There is There's I know the one that was released from San Jose, Todd McClellan. He's out there, and also
a former wings assistant who was on Babcock's staff.
There you go, and also Guy Boucher, a former Tampa Bay Lightning head coach, who took him to playoffs for a few years. So it's gonna be an interesting offseason when it comes to who is the winning wooer when it comes to Mike Babcock.
Yeah, I just don't see it being the Red Wings, though. I think they're resigned to the fact that they've given him permission to seek out other opportunities. The report also said that him and Ken Holland have spent the last week and a half talking, and if they haven't come to a resolution yet, I would assume if Babcock wanted to be here, the contract would have been done by now.
That's true, but right now he's like the LeBron James of coaching. So he's gonna flirt with all these potential suitors and see what happens. And after his track record, he's allowed to do that. He's allowed to go out there and get as much money as he can for his skills, because it's something that he's like you said, one of the best coaches in the league today.
It helps when you win, doesn't it?
It helps when you win, and you're consistent when it comes to winning.
It gives you leverage.
And it gives you leverage.